Now, you should all be able to hear us, he says with great anticipation. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. This is our Twitch channel. Yeah, if you've been here before, you know exactly what we're about. We're going to play some tabletop. I've had a great week of staying up very late watching some other friends' Twitch streams, which is cool. One of them is Pigeon Ahoy. For those of you that know Pidge from LT, it is an absolute blast hanging out on his Twitch channel. He does stream a little bit late, and I did get him in trouble with his parents, but it was well worth it. So he's a big, is it Sea of Thieves? Sea of Thieves streamer. So yeah, Pigeon Ahoy. Go check him out. He's great. Funny as, just genuinely such a funny bloke. Not sponsored by the way, just saying. So yeah, welcome to the channel. We're doing lots and lots of tabletop throughout the week. 5 nights out of the 7 we are doing tabletop RPGs from DnD5e, Pathfinder 2nd Ed, just started Vampire the Masquerade, and we have a Carbon 2185, which is a cyberpunk tabletop using probably 99% of the 5th edition rules. So yeah, so check us out. You can go to social media below the stream, click all those buttons, it'll take you to our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I've missed one. It'll take you there. YouTube, please go to YouTube. We're like 15 subscribers off to changing that shitty URL from stupid waffle to heavyweight gaming. I'm just saying. Now, once you've subscribed, I'm done. You don't have to watch anything, but just get me to 100. So yes, we've already had a subscription this evening. You'll be all shocked to hear that it's Dwarf Warrior, so thank you very much. OG in the house. I have to say that every time he subscribes now, so thank you very much, Dwarf Warrior. If you are enjoying the content, please shout about us, tell your friends, etc, etc. The more geeks and nerds we have in the chat, the better it is for the players' sanity as they come through my campaigns. So they have someone they can look to for help and a hug now and then. It's well worth it. We have introduced something. We introduced it on Saturday and it went very well. It seems to be that a lot of the time we do these RPGs that chat are quite fond of helping the players. I mean, I think it's biased personally, but for
I know what this is going to be.
for 200 bits or cheers bits, whatever terminology you're familiar with, you can give the party a reroll. They cannot have more than 5 of these rerolls at any one time. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many bits you do after that, they only get 5 maximum rerolls for the session, and it's 200 bits a reroll. The party will decide among themselves when and where it gets to be used, and it is a D20 reroll party because they're pretty new to this reroll stuff. It is a D20 reroll, not a damage reroll, and you can't use it on me. You can only use it on yourselves. Okay, so 200 bits. Not yeah, and as Sawdust keeps shouting, 2,000 bits gives me a reroll, but that's probably because you're a very horrible person. But yeah, the 2,000 bits is not an official thing, merely Sawdust and Swearwords, just so you know. So yeah, 200 bits, and you can give them a reroll. I think it's a cent a bit or something, so it's a couple of quid. You can give the party a reroll if you so wish. Our lovely sponsors.
The party did the same if they
How desperate are we?
If I start seeing you all lot's names pop up as cheers and bits. So yes, our sponsors for the show, for our D&D show, is Ruffworx Creative, who are very, very talented leather workers and woodworkers. If you go to Facebook and type in Ruffworx Creative, he's the only one on there. Look at his photo albums. You will see some incredible craftsmanship that has been done over a lot of years of practice. I've known Nick of Ruffworx. He was the best man at my wedding, so I've known him a while. He's a very, very talented bloke and needs to be shouted out about more. So go check out Ruffworx Creative. A new friend of mine, Ashana, across the big water, across the pond. She is a glass worker, a geologist, a LARPer, a WoW streamer. She's a multitude of hobbies that fit a lot of our geeky needs. But the thing that I really need to shout about is her glass working. She does little figurines, I think on a Friday and possibly a Tuesday, I'd have to confirm. But if you just put Ashana, as you can see, into Twitch or Instagram, you'll probably see her Instagram pop up in the chat. but just go check her out. Some of her stuff is incredible. She does requests. She's done like Fire Djinn, Murlocs from World of Warcraft, Sea Turtles, all sorts of stuff. She's also looking to do a couple of geeky inspired Dungeons & Dragons World of Warcraft dioramas, all glass. I cannot fudging wait to see them. And she's going to be sending us over some little glass dragon dice protectors, and they are little glass dragons that you put near your d20s and they protect them from the big bad DM. It's pretty cool. So when they come over, we'll be doing a few giveaways for them.
On dice stank.
Oh yeah, they keep Mel away essentially. So one last thing before we go into it, I do apologise for the long ramble. Tomorrow there is a big thing going on across Twitch, hashtag Twitch Blackout, and essentially as many streamers as possible will be blacking out their Twitch for the entirety of Wednesday in support of various flavours is probably the wrong word, but a lot of variations of abuse that a lot of people were just trying to shout out and let Twitch know. I don't know if you've been reading about Mixer and stuff, but a lot's happened, and we just want a spotlight on it for a lot of Twitchers and streamers and content creators that are coming on, so the mass community of Twitch is doing a Blackout Wednesday, and we'll be on board with that as well. So the vampire game that would have been happening tomorrow, we are going to push to next Wednesday, and you will get to see part 2 by our lovely storyteller Jade carrying on with her fledglings. So yeah, so we won't be streaming tomorrow evening, but if you were planning on watching us, thank you very much. So moving on to more positive stuff. I suppose that is positive, but moving on to the D&D stuff. We have, I'll go around the players and then we'll do a little recap. So we have, you will see that Griff bless. Poor Kate is still under the weather, so is, as you can see, out to lunch until, well, she determines otherwise. So we have, playing Kesvion, the Fae Fighter, Luke. Give us a wave, Luke. We have playing Daelfin, the Elven Blade Singer, Mr. AJ, aka the Game Weaver. You will see his advert at the interim. Go check him out. You can give him a couple of quid and he will give you great adventures. That sounds dodgy as shit, but just check out his stuff. He's not one of them, but anyway, moving on. We have
Go to PayPal, different story.
yeah. Friends and family. We have playing Aristotle, the human swashbuckler. We have Mel. And playing the Fae Warlock, Xandria, we have Jade, aka Vampire Storyteller. So let's hope there's no bleed over. No pun intended. So we'll have a bit of a recap. This merry bunch, after leaving the city of Ebendorf, they're currently in the country of Ravenholm. I've applied the map to the overlay, so hopefully you guys can see a bit of where they're trekking around, or at least an overview of. They're in Ravenholm. They were in the city of Ebendorf, and they left the city of Ebendorf. They ended up meeting one of the Fae protectors of the Copper Forest, known as Kulain the Lance Lord, known to Kesvion and Xandria previously. At request, Kulain's Jezerit wanted the presence of Kesvion and Xandria, and they entered the Copper Forest and spoke with the Jezerit. They informed them that the reason they needed Kesvion and Xandria is they are children of summer, and the Forest of Copper is the Forest of Autumn. And somehow the humans of Ravenholm and varying other natives of Ravenholm have managed to hide themselves from entering the Forest of Copper and not alerting the Jezerit, which is a big no-no, and they don't like it. Whereas the children of summer are not part of that autumn marking, as it were, so they are able to wander freely and not be spotted, or at least this is the theory that the Autumn Fae have come up with. So you have Kesvion and Xandria answering the call, and as actions have happened, they've brought along with them Griff, the Kenku Paladin, Aristotle, Ari, the human swashbuckler, and the elf, the elf blade singer, because that's how it happens. So yeah, so they were in there. They got that bit of information. They were essentially asked, "Can you just help us with this? You are more able to work your ways without being spotted and triggering the humans knowing you are coming." And then, as if by cue, the forest itself had an incursion. 2 incursions actually, north and east. Cullen went and tried to deal with one himself, while this merry bunch with their absolute legend demigod Walks, the elven ranger that couldn't hit something if it hit him, they went and took care of these wraith-like creatures that were blues and kind of backlit and doing lots of necrotic damage. They did a bit of a necrotic crop circle going on in the forest. This lot managed to deal with them. Some people had life force drained, etc. We finally got to see Xandria unleash the 17-foot spear of summer, which was very nicely described. I watched it back today. It's very cool. I would love to see that in LARP. And yeah, they dealt with these 4 wraith-like creatures. All 4 of them had a white sash that remained once they were killed. This white sash was recognisable to Ari from the House of the Red Lady, whose uniformed colours are indeed white. So,
not confusing at all.
Yeah. They then, with the help of Walks, trekked across the forest to try and reach Cullen to aid him in whatever incursion he was dealing with. They stayed a night, maybe. They stayed some hours out in the forest that needed them to have a long rest, where they interacted with some of the local wildlife. It was very lovely. And yeah, they trotted on. What they ran into was Cullen in his enormous bear form of gold and white, in combat with a 7-foot plate armoured warhammer wielding Death Knight, and they joined in the fight. And between them and Walks and Cullen, mainly them, they chased off the Death Knight, who managed to cut a portal in the fabric.
It's gravy time.
Thank you very much, Ruffworx. Yeah, it's about time you subscribed. Cut a portal in the very fabric of the material realm and the fae realm with a strange looking dagger. Then vamoosed through said portal, which looked like it was flaps of skin in the realm of the fae, but didn't chase. They turned to Cullen, who changed back to his normal white gold armour wearing druidic paladinic self, who sat on the floor and finished it with, "I need a rest." And this is where we will bring the beautiful players in. 3, 2, 1. You beautiful players are in.
What the hell just happened?
Are you aiming that at this lot or? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
You said we're in. I was in. Nobody else was.
I just presumed that was to the room at large. Is there any sort of leftover remnants of the tear in time and space?
As you are looking around and talking, because as you chose not to follow, you can see that it is slowly mending itself, as if the fae realm itself is healing itself. It's not a arcane method that any of you have heard of.
I think Kess is mostly going to be like keeping a sort of eye on that, because clearly stuff can go into it. He's not quite convinced stuff isn't about to come flying back out of it just because they've not longer got a giant bear on their side, I guess. So I think he'll probably go up and kind of have a kind of wee look around it, just knowing he's probably not going to understand it, but still trying. Like walking around the other side of it, just like.
You can give me a perception check.
That is a 13.
Cool. As you kind of inspect it, you walk around it, and there is as you'd expect. Nothing behind it. It is literally a slice in reality, as it were. As much reality as there is in the Fae realm. And where you noticed before that the large plate armoured hammer swinger was rocking out, you now see shapes of similar soldiers to those in Ebendorf, but you don't see any red. You see more sashes of white right at the far end, and they're kind of coming into that long corridor that you saw the Death Knight walk up as it's healing itself. They don't seem to spot you. They just seem to be essentially swapping places with the Death Knight and filling that corridor. They're not coming towards the portal, they're just holding guard in it. Probably in case somebody follows the Death Knight.
He'll kind of back up towards the rest of the party and just kind of update them that the folk on the other side seem weirdly unfussed about the whole repping reality.
Well, they just had the big guy come back over to their side, so I imagine they think they're quite safe over there.
I don't want to follow, and we're not doing great right now.
They all seem to be wearing, and Ari still has the white sash, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Kessel kind of point down to that. They all seem to have the white sash.
So they're all in naked and they're holding on. Okay.
Can you tell us any more about this red lady? She seems a nuisance.
You can give me a history check if you want. Hurry.
I was like, Can I tell them all? Oh my god, I got this is so weird. I got a 19.
A 19, okay.
Yeah.
So the House of the Red Lady are known across Ravenholm for being the main source of knowledge on necromancy, undead, unlife, returning from it, drinking of blood, that sort of flavour, giving oneself immortality through ridding themselves of the weakness of life, is how they portray themselves. There are stories that lay claim that the ruling family was actually around during the original war between when Reinhardt first lost the Empire.
So, Red Lady is not just a fancy title, she is what she drinks, I'm assuming, from what you've just described.
Yeah, they're very much about...
You also know, sorry Ari, you also know that the Red Lady is one of the Pantheon. As in, one of the Pantheon is called the Red Lady and their house is based on her.
Right. So it's the house of the Red Lady, the Red Lady is a deity, the Red Lady isn't the person in charge of the house. Is
pretty
what
much.
I got from that. So who is in charge of the house?
That's all you know.
Never really had that many dealings with them for pretty obvious reasons. They're not the most sociable folk.
I mean, I'm new to this country, but an entire place dedicated to the complete understanding of necromancy, and it's not already on fire? Right. That's the kind of place I've walked into. Okay, shall we find somewhere to rest?
Ideally, not right beside that.
It's about 2/3 healed as this tear.
You know what? let's keep an eye on that thing till it's completely gone. Then we'll go rest.
It's giving Kess major heebie-jeebies. Not
Heebie-jeebies.
enjoying that in the slightest.
There is a element of ambience around you that is lacking in forest life, and it just seems now that you are. It seems like you are surrounded, but by nothing. You just get a horrible feeling that you're surrounded. I mean, you're still in a corrupted circle, crop circle as it were, but you can't hear any form of forest life that you're normally used to. Walks
But
is still tending to Cullen. Go on.
It's no different from the one that we had in the east.
No,
north.
no, it's the same. It's the same.
It's the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a walk over to Walks.
Walks is tending Cullen, and there is a green ethereal mist that is pouring forth from Walks' hands into Cullen, and you assume wounds are healing.
Does it look like the kind of thing where if he breaks any form of concentration, it's going to stop?
No.
Right.
You do notice a little green spirit, about 8 inches tall. Hard to see their features. You can just see a humanoid shape, and they're kind of dancing around Cullen. And every now and then there is almost a wisp-esque link between this little nature spirit and Cullen.
Does Cullen look like he's conscious enough to receive a conversation himself?
Cullen sat there eating goodberries.
Strong. Then I'll address Cullen, not Walks. Lancelord, we're in some need of rest ourselves, but if you need us to do anything before that, make your wishes known and we'll do it.
He looks up at you, just chewing on the old goodberry. Rest is good. Not here though, it's dirty. I can taste the corruption. The death. It's not natural death. The forest will not like it. We should move. And he stands, picks up his lance. And this little nature spirit just stays with him.
We move when you move, sir. I'll head back to the group and start rounding us up, despite the fact we're already pretty rounded up.
Yep.
Cool. Do any of you require healing?
Kessel kind of see how the rest of the party's doing. So would that be a perception check, just to kind of...
It'd be a medicine check per person you look at.
Oh good, that's not a negative to that, so that's nice.
I'll save you some time and say I am unhurt.
That was a 19.
So who are you looking at?
He's just kind of having a glance over
So
the
Ari,
immediate party.
Ari, are you blooded?
No.
Cool.
Bloody is half, isn't it?
Yep. Daleton, you're not. Zandria, are you blooded? So Ari looks like...
Bloodied in relation to your new health points, or...
that's fixed after your long rest. So her max has returned, but she wasn't healed.
Cool.
So Zandria definitely looks worse.
So I'd misunderstood that. I thought her new max was 7, and she was half of that, and I was like...
Oh, no. So once she'd taken a long rest, the max went back to max.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Although I may use that later on.
I'm sorry, Jade.
So Zandria definitely looks the worse off of the lot of you.
Okay. I'm not looking much better. Kess will kind of like help shunt sort of Zandria forward a little bit, and just gonna say, if there is healing possible, we're kind of in a rough way.
Kalean looks down at the little nature spirit and speaks to it in primordial. Do any of you speak primordial?
I don't know why I checked. I do not speak primordial.
I was like that, damn!
No, I'm not going to drop that one on you.
Yeah, so there is a language very elemental in nature as it speaks to this, as Kalean speaks to the little spirit. And the spirit kind of makes its way over to stand between Kess and Xandria. Kess, as it stands next to you, you receive 12 points of healing as it dances around you, and you could just say a little, and then it this green mist from its body reaches out to you, and Xandria it then dances around, and you take the same. You take 12 points of healing as well. It wanders back over to Kalean. Kalean sort of pats it on the head, and it just fades away into little tiny green lights that dissipate. We move, and Kalean starts walking.
I'll follow another big guy.
Yep.
Walks, starts doing a perimeter check. Why? No one knows. He's useless. But Kalean will start doing his scouting ahead type thing. Griff is just plodding along, checking everyone out. Didn't use his heals, seeing that Kalean had had access to stronger healing by the looks of it. Kalean walks you out of the circle of death, and your forest-like sounds return. He says, looking for the music of forest returningness. You do indeed hear the noises of birds, creatures in the undergrowth, and such. Kalean walks you for about half an hour. He will walk unless you interrupt him or wish to talk to anyone. I'll take that as a no. I can't see your faces, so I'm just going to assume. We use Syrinscape, by the way, for our lovely. Can we get away with that? See if this works. We'll see. Hopefully it works. Anyway, I'm going to leave it now. So you start hearing the sounds of animal life return, whether it be above you or beneath you, all around you. Again, similar to when you stepped out of the last necrotic crop circle, it was a physical line that you stepped over and the environment changed. Kalean walks you for about half an hour and then whistles to Walks, who just seems to accept that as some sort of practice command, and immediately goes about setting up a camp. It doesn't take Walks long, and you have a small campfire that he didn't use flint and steel to create. He used his own arcane talents and druidic skills to just create yourselves a small campfire. The food that he provides is Goodberry-esque and dried and very non-harmful to the surrounding area. He does not go hunting for any fey rabbits to feed you in case it turns into a 19-foot wolf, but who knows, and you sit and eat. Kalean is, by this time, looks pretty much it was hard to tell that he was injured in the first place. He still seemed to move as gracefully as you lot did, as a 12 foot bear, but his wounds didn't seem to slow him down when he was walking along. You take seat at camp. Kalean removes some of his armour and just starts to strip it down, mainly the plate parts of it, and he puts it down in front of him very methodically. He leaves his white gold chain on. His very much lessened in bulk now, and you can see that he is a tall, slender fey. warrior with a lance. His plate armour all in front of him. You can see the filigree all over it, which you didn't see before. It was very smooth, but now there is a filigree to it as the light of the autumn forest touches it. He turns to would have been Griff. He turns to Dalefin. When you fight, you sing.
That is true.
That is old.
It is the way and training of my people.
I did not know it was still taught.
We use everything we can to combat a dark enemy. The old ways are as potent as the new.
He just nods. Jesus. Just gonna turn that down a little bit. Screaming in my ear. You may have seen I need your help. I cannot fight in two places at once. And I'm not sure of the outcome of the fight that you just witnessed without your aid. I would ask... Sorry, Delphin. I would ask on behalf of the Jesuit and this wonderful, and he kind of breathes deeply as he looks around the forest around him. This forest that you aid me in seeking out, how they're able to get into my domain without my knowledge. I am sworn protector of this land, and yet they evade me. This angers me. Not that you'd know.
I cannot speak for any of the other members of this party, but I will offer what help I can. I believe I'll gesture to the siblings. These are already spoken for as well. I assume they're helping. I'll turn to Ari. It's your decision, not mine.
Your lady said we would be spies for her.
Correct.
While I am not overly enamoured with the humans that I believe have caused this incursion, I also don't know how I'll fare if I'm pitted against them. So I don't know. What I'm saying is I'll be as much help as I can, but I don't know that I will be completely helpful against my own kind. I don't know how to put this. Like, I'm gonna be as helpful as I can be.
If the choice before you was to aid these people in the forest, would you?
Yes, I believe you've been wronged.
Then you are being helpful.
Okay, I'll take that.
I will look to the children of summer, and he looks at Cass and Andrea, to take lead. I mean no disrespect to yourselves, and he looks at Griff, Ari and Delphin. You are not of the forests. And by forest he means these particular forests, and not ones that you've had a bit of a dabble in, Ari, you know what I mean? I mean, always on the edge with a tree or two.
I'm worried how he knows.
Yeah, you'll see some mini-lanes that look awfully like Harry. It's a fair thing, don't worry about it. Yeah, so I will look to the children of summer to lead, but when they are outside the forest, they will need your commonality with those of Ravenholm as protection. From here on, there are things I would not recommend using the ways to leave the wild, but instead take the acorn I gave you and walk 2 days to the east You will know you are going the right way. When you get there will be an oak. It is old and dead. Dying but not dead would be a better description. Give it the acorn and it will allow you back into the material realm. If you use our ways, it seems they are able to use them in ambush. I will not be going with you, so you will need to tread and face the dangers of the forest alone. Walks kind of sort of puts his hand up. You will not be going either, Walks. I have a job for you. He just nods. Kicking off with the boss.
I can assume that from the whistle, Walks is basically just a glorified sheepdog at this point. That's very good at putting up tents and starting a campfire.
But shit at sheepdogging there, as you say.
I mean, he kept us all together.
That is fair.
And he led us where we needed to go. He just wasn't super handy at the rest of it.
Harry's going to ask, so these dangers of the forest, are they kind of particularly aimed at someone of my race? Because I was particularly susceptible to it before.
The dangers of the wilds are aimed at those susceptible. Race does not mean a thing to them. If the children of summer wander and give themselves over to these dangers, they too will be hurt. I protect the forest, I do not command it. The Jesuit lives here and is seen by all as the one before winter takes hold of the world. But again, there are creatures within the forest that take command from nobody. You'll have to trust your blade, yourselves, your mind. And if you make it to the oak, you will be able to leave safely. Once you do leave, merely wait near the forests. When the moon is at its fullest, I will look for you. I mean, it's vague as fuck, and Kalain thinks he's told you a step-by-step instruction.
Oh yeah, it is fake. Down to its absolute core.
Go left, you'll be right.
I'll look to Xandria and Kesvion for their lead.
We'll head on out then.
Kalain nods. Walks with me. Walks, nods. Kind of gives a like awkward wave to you lot and follows Kalain, and they just start walking off in a direction. You turn to see Kalain's plate armor sink into the ground, as if liquefied into the floor of the forest. And then as you look at that and then you look back, you see Kalain fully plated in his armour again. And away they go. And you are left in a small campsite, i.e. a bit of a clearing with a fire, in the Forest of Copper. And you've been asked to go east to find the oak with an acorn. I mean, what more do you want in life?
Makes as much sense as anything.
I'd like to send a message to Griff if possible. If I know Griff's not here for it, but to say it would be easy if we had somebody with them that when I eventually get the ability to message, I can recognise a mind. might be worth you going with them so I can contact through you to them, if they'll let you.
There is no response from Griff, as Griff is staring skyward. Absolutely just staring skyward. Those of you that speak Sylvan hear a whisper on the winds, very similar to the voice of the Jezerit, and it simply says, "Come to me." And you see Griff begin to shape into a large raven, all his armour, weapons, etc., as if a polymorph takes hold of Griff, and Griff just nods to the sky and is now in a raven form, cacaws, and fucks off into the forest.
Or turn into a giant bird and fly away. That's fine too, I guess.
Things that we were not expecting today. That.
The Kenku learns to fly. It's all over, guys. That's it.
That's the level 20 campaign right there. So Griff disappears and leaves you four.
By this
like
point,
this forest.
do you really want to know by this point in time? Do you really want to know? Because I don't.
No, I don't, but... I really hope you two know where we're going and what we're doing, because I have no clue.
We're heading towards the big oak with the acorn.
Have you seen how many trees there are? Like, how...
He said walk for 2 days, and then out of character it was north, wasn't it?
East.
I wrote it down.
I'm glad you went out of character, because you didn't know in character even.
I could remember it was either one of the ones that we had. It was one of the two that we had just fought in. And
Out of character, I wrote it all down exactly where we need to go.
Brilliant. So yeah, what are you doing?
So, do any of you need to rest, or are we good to start walking?
Like, I should be fine. I didn't take too much then, and you guys seem a lot better, so we should be alright.
I'm unhurt.
I'm gonna head off towards the north then with
East.
Jeez, Louise! Oh my god, my brain.
So
Starts heading north, right? Kes starts heading north, and Xandria just walks up behind him, grabs a hold of his collar, and drags him east.
turns him that way. Come, brother.
Doesn't turn around, she just drags him.
I should just have stayed in my nap, guys. Like, it was safest for us all there.
The biggest
So you begin heading east, which is actually the same direction that you've just come from. There is, you'd be surprised, no recognition of the forest before you, and you begin to walk. It feels as if it is late morning, but you can't. There's no sun to check, and it's a few hours past 10. You just feel like it's late morning, going on your senses from your lovely days travelling. You begin to walk. The forest is abundant with noise. A lot of chirping birdies can be heard everywhere. You potter along. It gets to... The day drags. Like, there is no change of scenery. It is forest of copper. We get it. It looks like a copper forest. Like, you're getting to the point now where, like, I'm going to burn these fucking trees down. Or however you wish to roleplay. But I'm just saying, if I was there. So you you potter along, and it is a case of... It's just a repeating of the same scene as you are walking along. When it comes to the point where you are tired, hungry, aware that you'd be looking to set up a camp somewhere, there is a glade that you just catch out the corner of your eye, perfectly clear of any roots and such. The perfect spot to set up a camp for the evening. There is also a glade opposite it, there we go, that is full of gnarly roots, strange mushrooms, obvious nettles and spiky plants. There is a bit of a odd asymmetry to these two glades, but they do look like good places to set up camp. Or you can keep trudging and discover how late it actually is, maybe, possibly.
I think Cass is going to scope these two out, because with his prior understanding of how the Feywilds can behave, what always looks safer is not always what actually is.
Okay, then.
So, like, keeping a bit of distance and sort of within the tree line, he's going to kind of do a perimeter around both of the glades and kind of see, not if anything looks off, what is off, because
cool.
It's not an if, it's more of a when.
So which one are you looking at first, and then give me a perception roll for that glade?
He'll look at the obviously creepy looking one first, which I realise doesn't actually narrow it down. The one with the nettles. We'll go for nettles first.
Cool.
Are you wanting perception or survival?
Perception.
Perception.
While Kess is having a nose, I'm going to start casting Detect Magic. Mostly just see which one looks more illusionary than the other.
Perception +2, so that is 17.
17?
Yep.
It appears to be a horrible choice to camp. Like, you focus, you look, you're obviously aware, you've got a bit of a sixth sense of your kind and how they work. You know of tricksy moments in your desert lands. No doubt they happen in other Fables. But all you can garner from it is it just looks a terrible place to camp. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. Daelfin, you cast Detect Magic. You get Abjuration from Ari, focusing on Rapier and Dagger.
Right.
That you didn't get
Noted.
in the material when Ari was nearby when you cast Detect Magic.
Interesting.
Okay.
You get a metric ton of illusionary magic that essentially goes on off in your Detect Magic.
So I get blinded. Understood.
Yeah, you could put this down to you are in the Fae realm, or a Fae realm. That's it, really.
Neither of these two clearings look like they're stronger, weaker, or any other flavour than illusion.
They don't seem to be popping up on your radar.
Okay. Just
Okay.
sort of like curse a little.
Kess, you looking at the
Yep.
very, very nice glade? You hear a dog come running through the forest.
With their +2, that one is 17 again.
Cool. So this glade, this clear glade, had its grass cut. It is had all around the edges trimmed so there's no nettles. Any branches and such that may have fallen from the large trees that are growing nearby, there's nothing there. It looks like it's been manufactured to be a very nice place to camp. You've seen not as pristine but similar areas on the road. In the desert you have way stations that are essentially neutral. People turn up, there's supplies there, you use them, you replace them, you move on. So it's not unknown to you to have places along the road, not that you're following a road, that are deliberately set up for people to rest at. And it does look like one of them. It's just very pristine. And again, nothing out of the ordinary.
You did this one just to break my brain, 80.
I think you'll find your 17s did this to break your brain.
I know, but...
But I'll take credit. Yeah.
Rhea, something doesn't sit right with either of these.
Are you not being slightly paranoid that there's something wrong with them?
It's not paranoia when you're in the Fey Wilds, sister.
Perhaps not, but you can't assume that every single little thing is going to cause us issues.
I mean, just walking
He's going to
through
give you a look that's just
forest-
kind of like, we can't?
Big
Just
turn.
walking through the forest
Sure.
gave me horrendous visions of like all sorts of stuff.
That's because your mind's weak.
Damn.
Yes. What's to say that this entire thing is just put here so you don't make a decision and move on and go on being tired?
You see that it's almost like there's these two terrible choices and here is a third. If anything, it just that seems to throw him even more for a look. It's like that sort of meme of like the women with just all of the different equations scrolling over. You made a bad thing worse, my dude.
So what are you doing, kids?
Zandria's just gone into the less prickly looking clearing.
So the perfect one, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Roll initiative.
I was gonna say Ari's gonna leave with his sword, but Ilga still follow behind, being like, "Don't trust anything."
Cool, it's very nice. You walk into the glade, it's very fresh smelling and wonderful.
I'll pat Kess on the shoulder. Shall we camp in the other one? That way, if either side ends up with an issue, the other side can say something and come safely.
They're about 20 feet apart. So you could easily see one another.
He kind of gives a sort of a stressed sigh, a brisk nod, and then he goes and starts attempting to like clear some space in the prickly glade.
Cool.
Delphin will join me and try
Cool.
and assist where he can.
So it takes about an hour. Alexandria, I'm assuming, are setting up camp, getting out your rolls and stuff like this. You have a whale of a time. It is, wherever you put the roll and kind of test it. Oh, this is comfy. I'm definitely laying here. Ariot, same. It just ticks every box you want from a campsite. Kess,
Does
Delphin, go on.
Does it feel unnatural though?
Not
Does it
really.
get any kind of weird vibes from it?
Nope. Just potluck. Delphin and Kessfield. After your hour, Jesus. Don't matter how many twigs you move, You turn, and it just seems like you've moved more. It's as if you're both throwing twigs in at each other's piles. I mean, you're feeling that need for. It is late in the day. You can assume no one's flicked the fair dimmer switch yet. It is still lit.
Be damned to the twigs, be damned to the pokey bits. I'm gonna lay down.
In the pokey bits.
Bugger it, why not?
Cool. It is the most uncomfortable thing you've experienced for a long time. But your stubbornness is keeping you there. Kess, what are you doing? You look across the glade. You are dripping, my friend. You see Dalefin soaked through to the skin. You don't remember it being this hard of work shifting a few twigs. You look across to Ari and Zandria, and it looks like they've just walked into a spa day.
Yeah, no, just gonna keep at it.
Cool. You will eventually need to eat, as it is getting you are hungry, tired. Ari, Zandria, unless you stop me, you'll crack out food and feed. Dalefin the same, but for some reason Dalefin, like the dried meat, the dried fruits, just don't taste as good as what they did when you were rocking them a couple of days ago. You're not sure that they've got a sell-by date, but they're just overly chewy, more salty than you wanted, or the next bit is less salty than you wanted. It's just horrible.
Thank you for entertaining my paranoia.
It's not paranoia if people, if things are out to get you. We see what this place does. And this made it easier just to make the decision.
I'd rather 2 of us were uncomfortable than 4 of us were dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect math. So, you do get tired. The 10-15 seconds of light to moonlight passes. You're moving a few logs, still trying to clear some element of I'm going to lay here for the night. And next thing you notice is the moonlight is upon you, and you kind of can't remember when it passed. Same for Ari, Dalefin and Zandria. You are now aware that the moonlight is upon you and it is night time. Again, it's not dark, it's moonlit, but you just can't remember when it crossed. And it is pretty.
I'll take first watch on this side.
As a boom is in. I'll take first dice roll. Get it on me. Get it on me. So, Dalefin, you're taking first watch on that side. The other 3, what you do? Like, what's your plan for the evening?
Harry kind of looks at Zandria. I presume we're taking watches, right?
Would be the sensible idea.
Do you want first or second?
I'll take second.
Okay.
Cool. Dalefin and Kess, are you doing the same? Like Dalefin first, Kess. Are you doing it simultaneously? Yeah. So 2 of you are awake, or when one's awake and Ari's awake, Kess is asleep. How are you doing it?
Well, most of the elf lot only need 4 hours, so I'll go first and take it at the same time as Ari, and then when I drop, Kess the young goes up, and then we'll be awake for the rest of it.
Cool. So, all 4 of you give me perception checks.
$15.
15.
18.
18. Cool. Kess?
21.
Jesus. Ari? That was.
I'm gonna get murdered. I got 4.
It's not we. It's not we who are going to get murdered.
It's always one.
Cool.
And then there were 3.
Griff, no. Griff were gone. Griff's like, I'm out. I've seen the plot doc.
Oh.
So, as you take your turns during the evening, the one thing, except Harry, we'll get to you, Delphin, Kess, and Xandria, you notice that throughout the evening, or whatever this is, there are small sprites tinkling around on the outskirts of the two glades. They are a reddish, brownish hue, like glow, as if you backlit an autumn leaf, and they sort of sprinkling around. They are only about 6-7 inch tall. They're very tiny, flittering about. You can hear them, and they are playing flutes. The music is not ethereal to you or mind bending or anything. It's just quite a nice tune that sprites are playing. You've been entertained. You've been entertained by desert sprites back home, and they are generally just there to be playfully entertaining whilst you rest on the dunes. Here in the Copper Forest, you can assume whatever you wish, to be fair, but you see these autumn sprites just playing a little tune on the outskirts of these glades. There is no attack on your minds, souls, fortitudes, or anything like this. And during your meditative states and sleeps, you sleep well. Harry! Give me a wisdom save. Can I have a wisdom save, please?
Mm-hmm. Oh, not 20.
Cool. So, you don't notice where the flute music is coming from, but you do feel it pull on your mind, and you kind of start looking around. You see a few what you assume are just quick floating leaves, like a gust of wind has hit them. You don't recognise them as anything else, but you do feel a bit of a... You can hear the music. You can't remember if it's always been there, but it's quite nice. It's flutes and panpipes and such. It's very soft, long tunes rather than the quick of some of the pubs you've been in. But yeah, you don't feel the need to leave the glade, and your watch finishes, and you all take a long rest, except Ari and Xandria, who will wake up with a level of exhaustion.
I've already... Oh, wait, no. Never mind, I already had one level on, but I forgot. No, wait. No?
No, you got rid of it because you hadn't a long rest before.
Did we?
Yeah, to get rid of your max hit point issue.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm... Yeah.
So you two should be on a single level.
Yeah. So nothing new for Xandria.
Delphin and Kesfion, you have had the greatest long rest of your life. And you wake up with 7 temporary hit points. And you wake up like, damn! Like you're fresh as a daisy. You look across to Ari and Xandria, and they are peeling themselves off the glade floor. Still looks beautiful, and yours still looks a shithole.
Wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that was kind of... I enjoyed that. Nice rest. How you doing over there, guys?
20 feet away.
Imagine Xandria just raises one hand from a bedroll and flips them off and retreats it back under.
I mean, Xandria's not even asleep. Xandria's just sat there, just like staring at the ground, like, I hate you.
It's wrong there.
Just throwing Eldritch Blasts into the ground. Rebuke the ground. Cool. It's morning time, or it seems that way. Again, you don't notice the passing of night to day. The autumn forest of Copper is lit with sunlight. But you do believe you've passed, in Kalane's mind anyway, a day east.
I'm going to pack up camp, make sure we basically leave it like we found it, and head off east. Because I remember the direction that we're going in this
It's written on his hand. So, as you try to reset the camp, you've no idea if it looks like it did the same as when you got here. You just throw the twigs on the floor and walk away from it. And when you leave it and turn to look at it, it does resemble how it was when you first entered it. And the go on.
I'd like to leave a few little copper pieces, some berries, a dice out of my dice set as like an offering of thanks.
Cool.
And leave.
What dice?
D8. The most useful of dice.
Cool. Remember, you can no longer roll that throughout the campaign.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's my longsword hits down.
It's good that we didn't say D20, right? So yeah, cool. You leave your little offering. Cass, Andrea, it's no surprise to you. You normally see easily swayed folk giving offerings to the fairies and sprites and loveliness of the fae realm. It's rare to see an elf do it. Not in any horrible way or anything, just elves are, in your experience and knowledge, akin to them, so they don't see the need to make offering. In your experience thus far. So, Ari and Andrea, you trudge out of the beautiful, beautiful glade. Throw the cucumbers off your eyes. At Dalethin and Casvion. And hey, thank you very much, Dwarf Warrior. Right, remember you have 2 rerolls, team party. You get
when you roll a 4 on your, your perception roll.
Exactly that. So, one of you take note, as will I. And then when you try to cheat, I'll tell you about it. So yes, you head out, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Cool. Xandri and Ari are not as smiley as they normally are. You go with that as you wish. Dalethin and Kess, are you lead? Who's leading? Who's the one that is going? East is this way. My money's not on Kess. I'm just saying.
I'll do it.
Cool. So Xandri, as you're leading, can you give me a survival check?
Judge Kess by Luke's memory standards. That's not fair on the poor boy.
Yes, what do I have in mind?
But it's funny.
22.
22. Damn.
Yep.
Xandria goes full Legolas.
Oh shoot! Wait, I have to re-roll it.
You do, because you are exhausted.
Disadvantage.
I think with us being Outlanders, though, we get a thing that makes.
Do we? I don't think
Yeah.
we do.
Give us a wee sec. Let me.
I think if you're an Outlander, is that not the one where you're good at maps?
Give me a sec. I'm reading. It's been a while.
Okay.
I don't even know where I would see that.
On your
It's about general layout of terrains and geography.
Yeah.
Everything
Yes.
looks the same. It would matter.
Alright, because Bucky was an Outlander.
Try again.
So,
So it wasn't a 22. Instead, I will give you a 17.
cool. So you're less Legolas and more well-trained Gimli now. You are kind of picking your way through. You're not necessarily tracking anything. You're just kind of the nose at the front of this lot, and you feel you're going in the right direction. When Kalain said it was 2 days to the east, you don't know if that's 2 nights, and then a day, or 2 days and we'll be there today. He was greatly detailed in his directions. So, you do notice that there is an element of change in the trees around here, and their trunks are thicker and their branches reach out wider. They're still just as tall, still hold their copper and brass and ochre, is it? Rustic colourings. You notice that there seems to be a lot of red clay on the floor the more you trudge through the day. and it is kind of part and parcel of the ground itself. It becomes less soily and more red clay, and it seems that by the time you pass, after you stop for your guessing a midday munch, after that it seems that there is more and more of this red clay in this direction that you're going, and these thicker trunk trees, their roots buried deep beneath this red clay, and there is less fauna on the ground, and it becomes a bit more sparse, and the trees are wider set apart because of the size of their trunks. But it is definitely a alteration in the visual, by sharing the copper commonality.
What type of trees is it?
They are, you'd swear, like the first answer that enters your head is oak. Like if someone said, like, pub quiz it, boom, what are these trees, you'd say oak. But when you take a moment to think, you can't, the more you think about it, the less confident you are they are oaks. But you kind of shake it off and go, no, they're oaks. And then the more you think about it, the less confident you are, and rinse and repeat.
Great.
Magic trees, baby.
Love that.
So, Xandria is leading the way. Xandria, is your spear out, or is it away?
It's away.
Cool. Yep, Xandria leads the way. Again, it's not like she's down on the, close to the ground and picking up bits of dirt. Well, she might be. I don't know if she's doing this, but she just seems to know where she's going. Her confidence, the way she walks, gives you three a confidence that she is going the right direction. It feels late afternoon since you've been eating. You are now well into red clay ground, very large trunk trees spread apart from one another. Ahead of you, you can hear panpipes, and you can't see the source, but you can just see that they are ahead of you, or you can hear that they are ahead of you, sorry. But there is no source. So all four of you, if you want to give me perception checks.
13.
19. Oh no, wait. Disadvantage.
Oh, yeah, shit. 12. Not bad.
18.
Right.
Dropped in, it's the disadvantage.
11.
13.
So you begin to hear more and more music. You, so Cass, what did you get?
11.
Delphine, what did you get?
13.
Harry?
12.
Xandria?
18.
Thank fuck for that. So, right, as you're striding for disadvantage for Harry and Xandria, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. As you are slowly, as you're at the head, you other three, you can hear the music and you're a little bit confused as to its source. Xandria, you kind of listen, and it sounds like more than one people or whatever are enjoying a bit of merriment. You can hear fire, you can hear more than one sound of music. You get the feeling as if you've just walked into a tavern, but clearly you have not. So you get that sort of ambience of like just that noise of people chitter-chattering, music being played, the clinking of mugs and stuff, but you can't see where. Imagine you walked into a tavern and everyone was invisible, including the tavern. And it's about 40 feet ahead of you is where you're hearing it originate from.
Am I the only one who hears it, or does everyone else hear it?
They can hear it. They can hear music being played. They don't know that it's 40 feet ahead of you, and they don't hear the tavern ambience. They just hear music being played.
Okay.
Whereas you got the full whack.
Do you all hear that?
Music?
Mm.
Sounds like a tavern.
I mean, I was just getting panpipes from it, but
No, there's more to it than that.
investigate and move on.
It's quite close, so we'll probably come across it in the next so many yards.
Do we want to like stop and try and go around it? Remember how Warp's like kind of stopping and trying to go around stuff?
Changing direction's not always wise.
No, we might
in
end
the
up more
forest.
lost.
If Kalain said we head east and we stay east, then that's what we do.
I'll follow your lead on it because you guys know a lot more about this than I do.
And they carry on, I guess.
Cool. Are you
To their deaths.
are you just straight up said source? Like what's the plans, Andrea? You're kinda
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess Xandria will lead them a little bit closer, and then when she can kind of hear that it's close enough, then she will turn around and motion to everyone to stop, and then she's gonna continue walking, but I am going to stealth.
cool. So give me a stealth check. Disadvantage.
Two
No,
successes.
you don't. Disadvantage on your skills. Just your. That's later on. Skill disadvantage is a higher level of exhaustion.
So I've been disadvantaging on things that I
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah. That
I
was
thought
wrong.
it was ability checks.
Yeah, it's ability. It's. If I said strength check, it's disadvantage. It's my bad. I didn't correct you when you were rolling it. So don't worry about it.
You'd think we'd know this by now, being professional D&D streamers.
Oh yeah. Jesus.
Why am I rolling 2? I don't need to roll 2. You just said I don't need to roll 2.
Total pros.
Right, go back to rolling rolls.
Yeah, I read ability checks as everything.
Rose
so I'm
got
like,
me a grand total of 21.
21.
19.
Cool. So
Stealth.
you as you get closer, you can hear the music goes quiet for a while, then picks up again, and ahead of you, the seam of a door just opens. It's about 20 feet from you. You kind of signal to them three to get out the bloody way, and you just disappear behind a tree. Kess, Delphin, Ari, Xandria disappears. Not literally, as in she hides, and you notice that she hides.
Okay.
Do you follow suit?
yes, being stealthy again.
Cool. Stealth, Ari?
She kind of gestured for us to stay back, didn't she?
She's kind of just stay out the way, like she
If
just...
she said to stay back, then Kess will stay back.
Cool.
She's clearly got a...
Are you going to stealth by
method to her
staying back?
madness.
Or are you just going to be like stood
Yeah.
in... Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's not...
Alright. Yeah, I'll stay here. Hello!
Yell it. Hello.
So, Ari, what did you get?
17.
Cool. Kess?
Rolling it just now. +3, so that is 17 as well. Fortunately.
Cool. Delphin?
That is a 17.
Nah,
17 and 3.
Jesus, 3 17s. Cool. So you
Let's go.
you all sort of bump into each other and stand really still. We look like one of the trees if nobody moves. Xandria, you look over your shoulder at the Three Stooges, but they do an alright job at hiding. And you just vamoose into behind one of the large trunk trees. You kind of keep an eye on the where it's louder now, and as this seam appears and the door opens, the music is louder, and you see a humanoid from the waist down, seems to have goat-like legs. Yep. From the waist up, they are clothed and curved in a feminine way, and their horns are wrapped really close like ram horns, and they have a really extravagant reds and browns and oranges makeup going on from both their eyes across, real big smile, and she has a small like ukulele type instrument in her hand. And as she opens that, you can see other humanoids behind at a quick glance, They all seem to have some sort of curling horn on their heads, but you can't see the rest of them. And she steps out into the forest itself. She steps from the door and down. She seems to walk on invisible steps down to the door. Down to the floor, sorry. And she's just practicing her ukulele, and she's just singing away, which I will not do. But it's a lovely voice, and probably would have won the X Factor, but you know, we'll never know. Seems to have no weapons on her. She is dressed similar to someone of an urban environment that would spend time in a tavern. She's not dressed in a ranger-esque attire. She's just enjoying a fresh air break.
I don't know what to do.
She's 20 feet from you. You don't have to do anything. I'm just...
I can't see the tavern
Nope.
at all. It's
You can
completely
so
invisible.
you can see the door, like where she opened the door. You saw in, and it was all wooded and as stereotype as it can be. It looked like the interior of a tavern at quick glance, and you could see other patrons in there drinking. But it was a quick. She stepped out open, and you hear a bit of a ruckus going on of the whole, essentially shouting to her, "Don't be long," you know. She shouts back, "Fuck you, Jimmy." But yeah, it does appear to be a tavern that you just can't see, at least from this side of things.
No. I am going to stealth my way back to the tree group.
You
inform them of the fawn, satyr, whatever they are, that has just come out of the invisible tavern.
You noticed Sandry walk up to you three and move the leaves from your three's faces. in your February pose.
Perfection. A creature has just come out of what I can only describe as an invisible tavern, carrying I think it's a ukulele. I can't say from the look of them whether or not they are going to be helpful, unhelpful, or hostile towards us. So I'm not entirely sure if we can maneuver our way around this situation or if we have to go through it. Because the tavern is invisible, I can't see where it stops.
Well, we walk towards it, and if we bump into it, we walk around it until we don't.
I mean, we'll be fine. Taverns are our favourite terrain, right?
Kez looks at you like...
Maybe for yourself and Ari, but taverns generally don't tend to be our... they're not ours.
I mean, if we end up in the tavern, I'm not going to complain, but...
If you end up in a tavern eternally and possibly dead, would you complain?
Probably not.
Okay, well, you can go first, because, I don't know, maybe they're into humans.
I don't think as hilarious as an idea, possibly sending Ari off to the Lost River in the Feywilds might be. Drea, I don't think that would be wise.
I mean, I never said it was wise, I just said it was an idea.
Can you guys navigate us around the tavern at any level of distance?
Well, that depends really on if the tavern has sides to it that we can navigate around. For all we know, this tavern could be an infinite size. It could be produced in such a way that it can't be moved around or gone under or gone over. Perhaps we have to go through it. I don't know. But
I've
these are
changed
the
my
kind of
mind. I don't
things
want
that
to go in
happen.
the tavern.
That might be our only way through. These are the kinds of things that do happen in the Faywilds.
I'm gonna look at Ari for a moment and just go, is that because Xandria said that we may have to go through? Because I'm starting to notice that you seem to have differing opinions. When one changes, the other changes.
It's more the fact of I'm quite used to a tavern. Can normally navigate my way through a tavern in the normal world. Funny feeling this place doesn't like humans. Or anyone that's not of Fey ancestry or whatever.
Possible.
I would suggest that perhaps myself or Kess goes in, and if there was any situation, the other could come in and attempt to do a rescue, but that's just it. We won't know if the other one is in danger.
I think we need to stick together on it, to be fair. I mean, I agree with trying to get around it if we can, but if there's no way around, we'll just have to try and go through and see how best we can.
It might also just not fully exist here, in which case we might just be able to.
Well, it's true.
Sorry.
It did look like a bit like a, almost like a gateway, almost like that rip that creature did before, except it actually had the physical shape of a door rather than a rip. But I imagine it's similar magics.
So we just gonna.
Well, let's try and be quiet about it, but yeah, I guess.
So the plan is to walk up to the potentially invisible structure and use it to guide our way around.
That's the only thing I got.
What if there are invisible windows and we just look like we're doing this out the front of them?
If that's the worst thing that happens, then that's
Well, no.
okay by me.
The worst thing that happens is those people then come out and ask what the hell we're doing.
It did look like they had to come down a set of stairs from the door in order to get to the ground, so there is the potential that it is on a level, perhaps something we can walk under. I'm not sure. We'll have to go and try it out for ourselves.
Or they only see the top of our heads looking stupid.
Just to put throw an additional wrench in these statements, Ari, am I correct in the assumption that taverns are the best places to find out information in your experience?
Yeah.
Maybe something in there knows how these things are getting around the landlord's eyes.
Potentially.
It may be beneficial to go in the tavern.
I don't think that, but as I previously stated, taverns are generally not the scene for Kess and I.
Did the person that came out, like, did they have weapons on them? Like, do they look threatening at all?
If you can class an ukulele as a weapon, then
I've heard enough
yes.
bad bards. It can be classified as a weapon.
From a perceiving glance, they didn't seem to be in any way, shape or form dangerous, but train a squirrel and they could still kill you.
I'm gonna start looking up in the trees, worried.
You see 2 squirrels doing this.
See acorns at the ready.
Yeah, sharpened acorns.
And mix them up with the actual acorn.
That's definitely a t-shirt.
Doesn't make any sense for. It benefits no one to keep information of those trying to invade the forest from the people trying to protect it. The livelihood of everyone would be at risk. I don't know why they would know anything that was not already.
Listen, if I know anything about people in taverns, they don't want to go out the tavern unless there's something really urgent. I mean, really urgent, because taverns have all the good stuff. They've got the music, they've got the drink, they've got the food. They're great. And if I know anything about them, they might know something. Doesn't mean to say they're going to go and tell everybody exactly what they know, because they don't want to come out of the tavern.
And invisible walls tend to make you feel invincible, because nothing knows you're there.
So on that bombshell, we're going to take a break to let the players mull over their plans. So folks, thank you very much for watching. If you're still watching from the beginning, just joined us, thank you very much. It means a lot to us that you're sticking around. I can see that there's 20, sometimes it goes above 20 people watching. That is incredible. Keep watching. Thank you very much. Keep the chat going. It's nice to see people chatting. I'm going to put this on a break now. You're going to see a bit of a slideshow of people that have supported the stream, our e-magazine that I completely forgot to mention at the beginning, but you know, it'd be right. Pro streamer. Yeah, so stick around, go get yourselves a brew. We're going to have a quick bio break, grab a brew, and we shall be back very, very shortly. Hello. Is it me you're looking? That's why I didn't sing, you see. Welcome back. Are we welcome back? Am I welcoming you back? Anyway, we're back. We've had a break. Hello, Code Red Creations. How's Assassin's Creed going? Have you finished it yet? I'll let you answer that later. So yes, before the break, this lovely lot are on a mission from Culane the Landslord. Not even close. They've been told to head east for 2 days with an acorn to give it to Oak, a very old and dying oak. They have headed east. They had a lovely stay in a beautiful pair of glades, depending on your perception, and now they have found themselves an invisible tavern, where one of the people drinking in said tavern came out, who appeared to be a faun, satyr, satyr, however you wish to pronounce it. But she came out with her little ukulele and was just chilling out outside the tavern. These lots are determining what they are going to do, so we will ask them in a moment. If you are still with us, thank you very much for staying. If you've just joined us, great. I hope you finish out the rest of the episode with us. Yeah, it's all homebrew. It's DnD5e. We love you all. How do you find an invisible tavern? You open the door. You open the door. So, lovely players, have you decided what you wish to do?
We wish to go inside.
Yes, you do. So, how are you doing this? How are you approaching the tavern? You can see down the way that the satyr, she has not gone back into the tavern. She's just pacing around outside, practicing on her ukulele. When you kind of look to each other to talk again, you look back. She's got panpipes in her hand. When you look back again, she's got a flute in her hand. But she just seems to be practicing quite jollily outside the tavern. Jollily. I'm going to Google that.
We could ask the native.
Perhaps it's best if we all approach them, but perhaps we should have Ari behind us just to be on the safe side.
Follow your lead.
So your marching order towards the tavern is?
Andrea first.
Andrea.
Esvion.
Esvion.
Delphin.
Delphin.
Actually, no. Delphin will go at the back in case someone else comes out and sees Ari at the back.
Ari in the middle, Ari on third.
So, as you, I can't spell walk, it turns out. As you walk towards the tavern, or area where you think it is, and you see the satyr, she is playing a flute. She turns, sees you all walking towards her, and a massive smile beams across her face. You see the red, oranges and browns makeup kind of shift to enhance her smile. Her ram horns kind of, you swear for a moment, kind of shift as though she's just sorting her hair out. And she kind of rearranges her stance to present herself in a opening manner.
You lead into Ari and go, don't you even think about it.
you turn to see Ari with a breath mint, like, what, me? And as she sees you approaching, she's like, hello, visitors! Ah, children of summer! You need a haircut. And she looks at Delphin. And what's this? An omen.
I just, I look and say, forgive me, I was not aware that you knew who we were, and I gesture to Kess and myself.
You absolutely reek of it. In a lovely way. It's not an offence. I don't mean offence by it. And she plays a little tune on the flute. You're in the forest of autumn. You summer folk. We can smell you a mile away.
That's worrying.
Nothing a bath won't fix. Hey!
Unfortunately, we don't have time for baths. I believe that there is an establishment ahead of us that we cannot see. We need to move past so that we can leave the forests in order to carry out the task given to us by the landlord. Are you able to assist?
Is he here? And she's looking around.
Unfortunately not.
Then we
The
can
landlord-
indeed assist. Is he dead?
No.
Hmm.
Why?
Insight check.
Yes. Inside check. Instantly. Is he dead?
Go on then, roll me your insight checks. I love how Andrew's like,
18.
17.
Cool. What are you trying to what are you inciting? Like why? What's the
That
trigger?
seemed like a weird thing to say. Like, he's trying to get why she would automatically ask that.
Was
of
it
all
hopeful? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extreme.
Was it jokingly or was it kind of more level of-
extremely curious, but not in a light or dark sort of way. Just a, very, very curious and very mocking.
He's a satyr in the tavern.
Is there a particular reason you jest about the landlord being dead?
Well, he's unkillable, isn't he?
Then if he is unkillable, why would you ask if he's dead?
Hopeful.
You're hopeful that the landlord is dead.
I don't like stories that are cemented in place. I like to know the ending can be changed. He's a lovely chap.
Surely as the protector of these forests, you would wish him well.
I'll be fine. There's plenty of protectors of the forest.
I'm sensing that you are a very entertaining person.
I am.
Well, it is not entertainment we seek this day. We really do need to find our way to a old oak tree so that we may leave.
An old oak tree. Looks around.
And none of the ones that you were looking at.
Why don't you come in for a drink? Sure, one of this lot will know. And she just points back at an invisible whatever.
Sadly, our task is of utmost importance. We must carry on.
Wow, you two are dire. Well, if it's of utmost importance, why don't you have a bevy and we'll see if any of our elite trackers can find you a old oak tree.
We more need to know how we can get around your invisible tavern. We believe we're on the right course to begin with.
Just go out the back
We
door.
can't see the building. So there is a back door, which means going into the tavern in order to leave from the back door.
Well, that's the fastest
No.
way through. You can keep walking round it if you want. No idea how big it is though. It's not my tavern.
Kess's eyebrow just about twitches.
She looks at Delphin and Harry. Do you two smile?
I am literally. This is the look on my face right now throughout this whole thing. Every chaotic good is getting ticked.
Harry just kind of gives her a smile and a wink of like,
She steps past Kesfion and Xandri
Oh no.
to Harry. What you notice, Harry, is she's about 6 inches taller than you, and you realise as she steps, actually, she's quite a large creature compared to what you first thought when you first approached. And she looks, I said down on you. She's looking 6 inches down at you. That's a sentence I won't repeat. And she, as you wink and smile, she steps forward. She's like, Ooman, eh? So where are you from? Obviously Ravenholm, and she starts walking around you, eyeing you up subtly. you see Nemo swim past, like, don't do it, don't do it.
I'll mind you both.
Player knows this is stupid. Character goes, hey, this is fun.
So where are you from? Are you not coming in for a drink? And just kind of links arms with Ari, and she's strong. Like, she tugs you along.
Ari kind of looks back like...
As soon as Ari and this creature like start going past Xandria towards the tavern, Xandria grabs a hold of Ari's other arm and starts pulling him back.
Give me a strength check.
I'm clearing the blast radius.
Strength checks aren't disadvantaged, are they? It's just the skills. We did discuss this, right? So I wasn't going mad.
Yeah, you are right. Strength checks come later on, according to the rules check.
Oh, I only got +1, I forgot +2. Damn it, I was so excited there. That is an 18 +1, so 19.
Cool. You feel your...
Nobody's taking my Ari.
feel your... I don't know what just happened there, but you feel your feet like go a bit further forward, as if you too have been pulled along. And the satyr does not seem to be putting in a lot of effort. Oh, you coming as well?
No, I need you to stop dragging the human along because we need to just get on with our job. We haven't got time to stop for a drink.
Ari, what do you say? Never introduce yourself.
He tries to unlink his arm.
And she lets you.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Kind of like, oh, yeah, like, we have got a job to do, but a drink sounds really good. Drea.
And as soon as Ari says Drea, she just goes like, what did you just call me?
Shit the bed.
Andrea.
The satire runs.
Close this door, the tavern blinks out of existence.
Just flings Ari in, just like, no, fuck it.
Keep him!
As you turn to talk to Drea, the satyr walks up some invisible steps, opens the door, the burst of noise comes out. You can see immediately, the first thing you see is the interior of a tavern and a lot of fawn satire satyr in there. And she just shouts, "Hey, you lot! These lot are looking for an elite tracker. They're looking for an old oak tree." And you hear someone shout back, "Old oak tree? There's a forest full of them. Yeah, but it's a specific one. So you coming in?" And as she turns to you, you see a very small elf-like person. They're about 3.5 foot tall. They're covered in leaves to hide whatever modesty may be beneath the leaves. And they have a tray with 4 tankards on it, frothing with ale. Drinks all round?
We're good, thanks.
You hear...
And he just stares at Harry. He's like...
You hear a aged voice
Bitch, don't do it.
come from somewhere inside the tavern, and it's like, "Will you shut that bloody door?" "Ah, shut up, you old codger." And she just turns back to you for four.
As much as we would love to come in for a drink, we do have something we need to get on with. Is there any way around the tavern that's easier than just going straight through? Or is
Yeah,
going
just
straight through
keep going until you find the edge. I'm sure you'll find it.
Do we just go through? Please. We just go through.
please, can I go in a tavern?
Please, Dad, can I go to the tavern?
Yeah.
If you ask me that one more time, I will turn this car around and we will go home. There will be no adventure.
Got McDonald's at home.
He kind of looks between the two and then just goes in.
Are you just walking? You see Harry walk into the tavern. Harry, you walk into the tavern. It is abundantly rammed with bardic types to the far left. There's a huge hearth fire. It's crackling. There is music going off. It is very, very upbeat, joyful. Everyone in there, drinking-wise, seems to be a satyr of varying flavours of life choice. And you can see a couple of these smaller elves, elf-looking folk that were serving the drinks. They're about 3 foot, 3.5 feet. Again, in there, like covered in the autumn leaves, and they're serving all these satyrs. You see them tall, small, wide-shouldered, pot-bellied, old, young. It is very much a tavern of satyr. Behind this bar, that appears to be a log that has been carved out. I mean, it's a fucking thick log, carved out. You see 2 more satyr with aprons on, and they seem to be pulling food from the back and drink and such, and serving it out to these small elven-like folk to take out to the rest of the customers. It just seems to be whoever or whatever is behind the bar is able to provide whatever they're asking for. But you don't see any actual pulling of pints, as it were.
How much would Ari know about
Satyr
Fae
taverns?
and their customs?
Give me a history check.
Got +3, okay. 16.
Cool. So, Fae and their customs has been rammed into Harry from from an early start, as with most children. You do not go into the forest of the Fae. It's quite vague, and you learned quite quickly that there is a massive extravagance to the adults telling young Harry that this is naughty, don't do it. You may have tried as a youngster to test the boundaries, but never found anything. And picking in between the possible truths of the stories you were told of, you know, they steal children and they'll steal your soul and you always owe them and stuff like this. This is the first time you've been in a situation that you could test those theories. But as far as their customs and such go, Fae, according to your stories, can either be incredibly giving or incredibly taking, or incredibly both. It just depends on what mood you get them in, or what mood you're in, circumstance. They are a very unplannable situation.
Has he heard the rumour about don't take food or drink from Fae? That's more what I'm asking. Like knows.
Don't take anything, is what you've been told
Okay.
as a human of Ravenholm. They can't be trusted, they should be killed on sight, they're evil creatures, they've got kind of a bad name amongst the humans of Ravenholm.
In which case then he won't accept a drink from them.
Historically, as in for Ari personally historically, the loss of Reinhardt's kingdom was due to fiends and Fae. So the histories tell you.
In which case he kind of won't accept the hospitality quite yet. He's kind of looking behind him to see that the other guys have followed.
While you're in there, Ari, just before the other 3 leave you and fuck off around the side of the building, you can't help but notice that the music they're playing is your favourite type of music. You 3, what are you doing? You've just seen Ari be like, be fine, and walk into the tavern with the satyr.
I'm walking around.
Cool, what are you doing, Delphin?
I'm gonna go save the human.
Caspian, what are you doing?
Andrea, we can't leave him in there.
Why? He went in there of his own free will.
We can't leave Dalthin in there, so we can't leave Ari.
Why?
in
He
there.
went in there of his own free will.
I've not yet got in. I'm still here. I say as I'm walking towards the door.
And I just point and go,
Eldritch Blast.
Just the
and I
entire
just
building
set the
flat.
tavern on fire.
Give it a go.
With the other two inside.
We... Kalain was right. We might need him when we're back out the wilds.
I assume you're referring to Ari.
I was mostly meaning Dalthin, but
Oh,
also
good.
Ari.
I'm glad you meant Dalthin and not Ari. Because I'm starting to think we don't need Ari, but yes, I agree with you on the level of we will need Dalthin.
And we have... Stop making me gaggle!
Control your emotions.
We have a better chance of getting everyone back out if we do this as a unit.
Fine.
If he's unsavable, we leave him, we take Dalthin and we run.
What are we classing as unsavable?
I'll decide when I see it.
I think your idea of unsavable and my idea of unsavable are two very different things, brother.
Probably. He starts up the stairs.
Who's carrying the acorn?
Me.
Cool.
The minute you walk inside, you're teleported.
I swear to God, if this tavern's called the Old Oak, I will be slightly miffed.
The Oak and 5 pets. I really want to change it now, but no.
I'm sorry, I would laugh if after Kess went in, the others just disappeared with him, and it's just Zandris and Boris like, you know what, I'm okay with this, and just fucks off in another direction.
Yeah.
Like, finally, I'm free.
Wow. Thanks, sister.
Not so much of
Wow.
you.
There's a character arc we need to investigate.
Thanks. Feel
My love
great
for you
about
is,
So what are you doing? What are you doing?
Sandria is gonna follow up after Kess.
Cool. You all walk into the tavern.
And the door shuts behind us.
It doesn't. It stays open. You can see the forest beyond. If you leave it for a while, one of the short elven folk will indeed close the door. At the shouts from an old satyr in the far corner, old as balls, and he's just shouting, "We close that damn door!" And one of the young elves closes the damn door. The music, you don't actually notice that it's playing different tunes to all four of you, but what you all hear is the music that you would choose if you were asked to give a request.
For silence.
Sandria's is probably Vader's Walk.
Shouldn't say that when I've got something hot in my hand.
That's the joy of Zoom. I ain't getting in the face. So yes, it's a night. It is jolly. It's loud. It's boisterous. It's a typical tavern. The folk in there drinking are all faun and satyr. You can see the short elves rushing round, serving them all, and the two satyrs behind the bar serving. The satyr that you saw outside, she's by Ari. So you're drinking, you eating? There's information. You're in a tavern. What do you need to
I
know?
walk straight past her, and I'm looking for the back door.
Cool. Give me a perception check.
We're-
She will keep talking to Ari.
Disadvantage. No, damn it. Well, that one was an 80, and what was this one? This one is 11 plus 4, 15.
Cool. You don't see another door. Whilst you are looking around. Ari, do you answer her?
What did she say to me again?
Do you want a
Sorry.
drink? Do you want something to eat? Do you want information?
Information would be good.
The music stops for a moment as they all look at you, and you hear a ooh as the music picks up again. She's like, don't mind them, they're all pissed. And you hear the old codger at the back. Just give her the damn information, girl. And she's like, so what information are you after?
I believe my compatriots and I, we need to get through. We basically, you said there was a back door to get through. What's the quickest way through?
There is indeed a back door. I have no idea where it is. Silence.
I'm sorry, Nanny. Nanny the fuck?
Esfion just looks.
So
We're gonna go-
whilst
Can we still see the door back out that we came from?
there is a door there, but it's not open. The young.
He is grabbing Ari and walking straight back towards the door.
Cool. Do you open it?
Yep.
You open the door. Void. Just endless void.
He just slowly turns and like stares down at Ari, just like doesn't say a word, just stares. Like
You hear a voice from the far side. You boy, come here. You for some reason feel it's aimed at you, Caspian.
I mean, calling Dale Finn a boy would be beautiful, but so very wrong.
you get told to stay, and you'll walk over to the old satyr.
The old satyr sat there. He is ancient, real old. Give me a perception check.
That is one of these days. I'll learn my bonuses. That is a 19.
Boom. You don't know how he's not dead yet. You were always carrying acorns around with you. He's sat by himself at a table. There is a candle that is lit. Looks like it's been burning through a night, but doesn't seem to be getting any smaller as it's sat next to him. He's wrapped up in blankets and such, like he's being put out to pasture. But he's clearly a satyr, just very, very, very old.
When they're given to us by who they were, then yes.
Blondie's still running round, is he?
The Lancelord.
Ah! Lancelord. I knew him when he was but an acorn himself. What did he tell you to do with the acorn?
We are to give it to the old dying oak to the east.
He just burst in a ha ha! You're a cheeky bastard! Why are you giving it to the old dying oak?
Because he told us to.
There must be a reason, boy. The Lancelord doesn't send Fey on merry missions. He's dead righteous, you know, and always got a adventure. Can't just kill things and get on with it. So there must be a reason. What are you not telling me, boy? Why you? Why this lot? And you hear the lass that let you in, that brought you in, just shout over, "Leave him alone, you old bastard!" Shut up, you! And he sort of like shuffles forward and leans, like tries to lean a bit closer to you. You reckon he was just as tall as yourself in the good old days, but sat down. He's just
6
sort of
millennia
shuffling
ago.
yeah. In the dawn of time. That was the first.
All around here was got saplings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a garden, you see, a lawn.
We need to return to the material plane.
Ah, now we're getting somewhere. You are requiring a gate, yes, a back door. Out of the wilds.
That's correct.
Just stand there, boy. Put some energy into it. Do you have this much energy when enemies are upon you?
I find it's best to save that energy for them.
Ah, disciplined. He starts sniffing around you.
He just that does get a sort of almost like concerned frown.
He's just sniffing. Gives no fucks of your personal space.
Can I assist you?
Not quite summer, are you, boy? Wet behind the ears. Ha! No pun intended, of course. Well, give me the acorn then, you damn fool.
Kess will call the others over.
This is out of my pay grade.
No, he's clicked. He's just like, okay.
Okay.
No, I get
Okay.
where we're at now.
You are called over by Kesfield.
Does it, very quickly, does it look like smoking is appropriate in this tavern?
There are a few set here, smoking pipes and
Good.
such.
I'm pulling mine out.
Cool. As you pull your pipe out, one of the shorter elves pull up next to you, and they have small clay pots on a tray. We have a variety of tobacco, if you so wish.
As soon as he starts talking, I just
Push him away.
and I'm just like, and then like I just get out my little box and I just take my desert spice and I just shove it in my pipe.
Cool.
And then light it up and then walk towards Kess when he's called for us.
Cool. You walk your way up, Gandalf style.
It's gravy time.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Canon Matt 75. Harry, you get a wink and a smile as you walk away from the large satyr.
You were told to wait by the door.
You also just called him over. Harry stands there confused.
Like it was more the interaction with the satyr that was you were told to wait by
He wouldn't have stayed by the door.
Cool.
He wouldn't have eaten or drunk anything, but he wouldn't have stayed by the door.
So, as Kess is speaking to old satyr, Zandrius sparks up a pipe, walks across. Harry, what were you doing in that few moments after being told to stay by the door? Did you interact with it? When you said you want to stay by the door, what were you doing?
He had kind of seen the void and kind of gone, oh shit. But then he'd have been like, I'm in a good place to be anyway. Wouldn't have accepted any food or drink, but he would have just been like, I'm going to talk to that satyr again. She was fun. Well, they were fun.
Cool. So whilst Kesfion is speaking, so he hasn't yet called you over, you go over to the satyr and she hello?
You said that you knew there was a back door out here.
I didn't
lie. You
lie
lied to me.
When?
You said
there is a back door. Never told you I knew where it was. She spins the flute in her fingers.
That was implied. Like, come on.
You're
Stop
in the
playing games with the
face.
humans.
Are you in the realm of the fae? And she looks up at the Shakespearean style sky. And you are claiming that I implied. You've never been here before, have you?
No.
Why did you follow the fae into the fae realm? I thought you were already committed. Given over to the life of beautiful and wonder that we can promise you. You won't find a tavern like this in the mortal realm. You can see all them. Hey! Gives you a little nudge.
I'm aware, but I'm not entirely happy about being stuck here.
Why would you be
You
stuck?
know, I've heard the stories.
Stories are just a twisting of one's opinion.
I trust my companions at least, but yeah.
That's fair. All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Drink?
No.
Then you hear Castrion call you over.
He will quite happily take that lead and get away from her.
Delphin, I'm assuming you follow suit, or have you decided to cash it all in here and...
No, I'll follow after.
Cool, you're all stood there. There's a very old satyr sat in front of Castrion. Castrion is staring at said satyr and then staring at you lot. Xandria's got a pipe. So what's the crack-a-lacking? What's the plan?
He will hand the acorn to the old dying oak.
As he takes the acorn, the entire tavern goes silent. No music, no sound of the forest, no nothing. You look over your shoulder, you are in the forest of copper. Red clay beneath your feet, large wide trunks of trees, the sunlit sky above you beaming through onto the floor itself. The old satyr is still stood there. He sat on the trunk of what would appear to be a large wide trunk tree that was cut down many years ago, and he's just sat there in his little scrubby robes with his hand held out with the acorn in it. There was no flash of light or anything like this, it simply was and then wasn't. You do still see the quite tall female satyr playing her flute not far, maybe about 40 feet from you, just sat on another trunk that is less wide, but is still among these thick trunk trees with the red clay on the soil. So, the Lord of the Lance. Do you wish to leave now?
We should.
What about you?
Reluctantly.
And he looks at Delphin. You ready to wander the real world again and face your self? Remember, you have not faced yourself since being in the Fair Realm.
It's been a nice rest, but time to get back to everything.
Don't forget, you know yourself. Where was I going with this? And you, human, you ready to leave?
Yes.
And he kind of drops his voice softer to Xandria. And you, herald of the tsunami, are you ready to leave?
I just take a big...
He tries to be very softly spoken. I am terrible at it.
I take a big puff out of my pipe, and I just kind of exhale the smoke out, just kind of like... I have a duty to do.
Yes, you do. And you, boy, looking at Castrion, strike true, stay safe. The way is there, and he just points at a tree about 10 feet from him. Walk through it, and you will appear in the mortal realm. Do any of you wish to insight check me?
I just tilt my head at him. And I turn around and I walk towards the stump he pointed at.
So you walk first?
Mm-hmm.
You walk straight into a tree. Yes! I'm sorry.
Tries really
I'm
hard.
sorry, my dear.
to laugh.
I'm
Harry
sorry.
laughs loud.
I'm sorry. Dear, Tootles. And
I pull a dagger from my side, and I just turn, and as I turn, I fling it at him.
Drea!
It's fine. You throw the dagger. Give me an attack roll.
Oh no! Oh wait! I was like, my TV's about to shut down. I need to grab my remote. My remote's in my drawer. My drawer's not there anymore. Oh wait, the remote's on the desk. We're fine. We're cool. Calm your tits.
I don't know what just happened there, but I'll assume everything's all right.
I don't. Yes.
Jade also walked into a metaphorical tree, I think.
It was a dirty 20.
Cool. The dagger goes through him and hits the tree behind. Yes, you're in my tavern, dear girl. And he shouts across to the female city who's playing her flute. Toodles, do the honour and open the door, will you? She shouts back, you are an absolute bastard. And she just grabs an invisible door handle and just opens it, and you see beyond the colour of greens and grey skies, very similar to the mortal realm that you left behind. What you think was 2-3 long rests away. It does immediately look. It is very obvious that it is not here, wherever that door leads.
I'm already gone.
Did Drea get her dagger back?
She did, yeah.
Yeah. Kestion will thank the old satyr, give him sort of a little bit of a head bow, and then head on out the door. While making sure that Ari is ahead of him.
So before you leave, Kes, you see Zandria step through, and he says to you, when the time comes, make sure your strikes are pure. Do not come foul to corruption. And then just goes, ah, yes, you may leave now. And just sort of...
He just, concerned look, grabs Ari, steers outdoor.
Cool.
You know, for a moment,
Follow
I
after
nearly
him.
liked him.
Ray blows a kiss to the female side.
Put it away.
She grabs it. She grabs the kiss in midair and just puts it in a little pocket. And plays the flute as you walk past and out the door. Delphin, you were going to say something?
No, I'm just walking out after him. I'll wave, just chuckling the whole time.
Cool. You step out of the door. The door is closed behind you. There is an immediate reaction that you are in the mortal realm. Kes and Zandria, it is a feeling you've been used to before. You have walked the oasis of the Fae realm in the desert lands, and you spend obviously a lot of your time in the mortal realm, so the feeling of returning is not new to you. Ari, it is like being hungover and sobered really fast. It goes from that tipsy, merry, smiley phase to my head's hurting to being dunked in very cold water. Delphin, you immediately hear, see, smell, feel yourself. Well, I should have gone with feel in the middle somewhere. All around you. For a very brief moment, like it all comes rushing back and then settles, and you're still in this, and you're back to knowing that you are there. You don't
Panic attack.
You don't actually know where you are. Ari, if you give me a survival check to see if you can work out where in Ravenholm you've just walked out of the Forest of Copper.
This could go really badly.
The Red Lady's Garden.
10.
Cool. So you have a look around. You are still in the forest, but you can see ahead of you a path, and it is one of the paths made of deliberately made by the humans and others of Ravenholm. but where you are, you do not know.
And he kind of looks at the path and is like, there's one thing I've now learned more so is to stick to the goddamn path.
And yet you still went into the tavern, didn't you?
It got us out, didn't it? It got us information.
Would just like to say, if we didn't go in the tavern, we would have been walking through the forest forever.
Or we could have lost Ari.
We could have, but we didn't. Instead, we didn't lose anybody, and we're out.
What do you do?
John just like
each other.
sighs really heavily and just sits down for a second, just like, jeez. Oh. Ari, do you have any idea where we are?
Not until we get out of this forest, because funnily enough I was taught not to go in the forest. Can we like walk for like just 10 minutes, just try and get out of the forest and try and see where I am?
You can.
Yeah.
As you begin to walk, you hear a picking up of the wind. You can hear faint rain pitter-pattering on the leaves above you. You hear the cawing of birds in the air. You, Ari especially, are aware that a storm is likely to be gathering as you head out the forest. It takes you about an hour from where you are. When you could see the path ahead of you, you thought it was closer, but Ari, nothing interrupts you between where you are walking to that path. You get to the path, and immediately there is a coast ahead of you, so you're not walking left or right on the path. So you're heading north, you look across the path, and there is a large harbour-esque, harbour is massive, it is several miles across. The path goes to the west and to the east. To the west, in the distance, and I'm talking a couple of days easy, you see one of the ancient guard towers of Ravenholm, Ari. And these ancient guard towers were built in the original days of Reinhardt's kingdom and have never ever been replaced, and they are populated with road patrols and various. They're a protective force for whatever province you are in. So each province has them, and each province populates them with their own people. To the east, you can see in the distance, because you're at a slight gradient, there is some sort of settlement of quite a decent size. Maybe town, maybe a large village you can't quite see from here, but it is definitely 3-4 days away maybe. But you can just see it in the distance. And that's to the east.
You said to the north you could see like a coast across the path essentially.
Yeah, so if you were to go straight across the path instead of going east or west, it'd take you maybe a couple of hours to walk down the gradient that you're at, down to it's not really sandy, it's more rocky. But there is it an estuary where where the sea comes in and causes quite a large lake. But it's not. There's a huge lake with a river going out to the west. It's not in the middle of land you have a lake. You've got this estuary coming in. But you doesn't ring any bells. You haven't been anywhere near this place that you can remember.
I relay some of that information then. So essentially, kind of goes is like, so we've got one thing one way, one thing the other way. Wouldn't necessarily go north because that's off the path, and you don't like going off the path. Please no. But we could go west. There's a guard tower over there. There will be a lot of patrols, but like every province has them. I'm just a little bit cautious in case that's the Red Lady. It could be her province. Don't really know. We're kind of to the north, which is kind of where she is generally.
Surely that's where we want to go.
Yeah, I mean we've got to the east as well. We've got like there's a sort of town or a village down that way, from what I can see.
As she's pointing these out, you two can see them as well, as in you three, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about this person that Kalain was fighting went to like a tower kind of place, I guess, possibly.
Where you saw them, it was a tunnel of dark grey stone that had definitely been manufactured. It wasn't a natural cavern. It was a long grey stone hall leading up to a set of stairs and a door at the end.
Okay, it was definitely stone, which to me indicates possibly one of these old guard towers. I mean, they're ancient. They've been around as long as like Ravenholm's existed. So if we want to confront them, that would probably be where we want to go. But I don't know if we do want to confront them right now.
We need
what do you guys
information think? At least. And that's the only direction we have to go in, is towards the Red Lady.
If it is the Red Lady, it could be... I mean, we don't know where this has popped us out. It could be anywhere in Ravenholm.
You hear thunder louder in the distance.
Well, we want to probably take some shelter, first and foremost.
I agree with that.
Does it look like the storm is on top of us, or does it look like we've got a couple of hours?
You got a couple of hours, but it's
Okay.
loud. It's loud enough that you can hear the thunder. There's rain. It's now raining.
Yeah.
But it's not the height of the storm upon you.
Yeah.
You can just hear thunder and such. The wind's picking up. Behind you is forest. Of how big, far, wide, you have no idea. In front, so if you say you're stood on the path, to the south, the forest where you've just walked. To the north, it goes down to that estuary. West is the guard tower. East is the populace, if you were to follow the road round the outline outside of the estuary lake. The town looks to be like it's on the lake, as in a port to the lake.
Yeah.
Didn't Kalain say for us to wait near the forest, and then when the moon is at its fullest, he'll come for us?
When we had more information, yes, but he's only just seen us away.
We have no new information.
Which
So
province
we-
did you say potentially had the Red Ladies? Which was the Red Ladies? And I'll sort of point in the multiple directions that have been indicated.
West probably. It's like looks like an ancient guard tower, so it could be. I mean, it could be anywhere because they're all over Ravenholm. But
It'd definitely tell you what province you're in.
Then that'd be the best start.
But so would the town, to be fair.
The best information we have at the moment are those white sashes. They've been associated with the province of the Red Lady. We need to get to there to find more information. If the tower's closer, we can look up and see. If the village is closer, let's go there. Either way, it's
I
about
think
to
the
rain.
tower looks close.
The tower looks closer.
Make a
I
motion
don't
toward the
know all that
tower.
information.
Sorry.
Look at Kess. It's yours, and look at Xandria. Your two's call, but that's the recommendation I'd go with to start with.
I agree.
Then, shall we? And I'm going to start walking that way.
So you start heading west.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The path that you are on, again, you notice is made and similar to the ones that you saw before. The now to your left as you're walking west Obviously the forest is vast and goes on for however far. You look to your right and you can see that this estuary is enormous. The tower, at a guess between the four of you can work out it's a couple of days trek, and you still reckon it was closer than the town that was down on the edge of the lake. The first day of trekking, you see not a soul. The storm is constant through the day. It seems to be just all around rather than on top of you, and you hear thunder, and the rain is just, it's not beating against you, but it's constant. Ari, there's no surprise to you. And you do the first day trekking. You did notice that when you came out of the realm and in, you immediately knew it was morning. You knew that the sun wasn't long up, despite not being able to shine overly well through the grey skies of Ravenholm. But you sensed that it was a morning. It was a moment of morning when you came out. Moment of morning. It was morning when you came out. You travelled the day. Again, you know it's time to throw out a blanket or two. You don't have the forest on your right because of the estuary that you'd have to work your way down to be anywhere near it. And you're walking on, I'd say a cliff. It's about 40 feet drop, but away from the path. It's not like you're on the edge of it. You'd have to walk to the edge and then dive off for some unknown reason. Turn into a goldfish. To your left is the forest itself, and again it's slightly off and away from the path and road as those of Ravenholm designed to keep them as far away from the edge of the forests as they could. That, as the evening approaches, and this time you finally see an evening approach normally, and the darkness starts to settle as nighttime comes in. The storm again is just a ambient to your trek rather than a physical thing towards your face. The thunder is in the distance. It's time to set up camp. You still haven't made it to the tower, to the guard tower, but the trek you've made, you've got good time on it. You reckon you could get there tomorrow evening-ish, as long as you weren't, mugged on the way. So you
start setting camp.
Cool.
Yep.
If you wish to have spoken through the day or through your camp tonight, just let me know and we can allow that to happen. If it's more chit chat and you don't really need to go through it.
No, I don't think there's anything particular that.
Go on.
I was going to say, Sandria will probably have a little chat with Kess.
As in off to one side?
Yeah.
Is this during the day or during the camp?
Probably during the camp when they've actually settled down a little bit.
Cool.
Than when they're on the move.
Cool. So camp gets sorted. You don't really have tents, so you're kind of just looking to keep yourself out of the direction of wind and rain, but you are definitely getting rained on during your 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever you need. Camp is set up. Kess and Zandria are off to one side, out of earshot of Dale and Ari.
I'm a little bit curious, I suppose, as to why that called me herald to the tsunami, and I just look at Kess.
Your guess is as good as mine at this point. I have as much information as you do.
When Jezerit mentioned previously calling me the Herald, I had assumed she had meant herald to... Well, I assumed she had meant Herald to Malika, but
As would I.
I think it's rather odd to be a herald to your brother. And then I suppose you have always been not so much of a leader, but there's definitely something. There always has been.
I had things good. And you know as well as I do, Fae like giving things names sometimes just for their own amusement. I wouldn't look too deeply into it.
Oh no, that is true. I suppose your tsunami name was given to you from someone that wasn't Fae related, or at least as far as we're aware.
Yeah, but they also seem to be tuned to another moon, to put it simply. I think a pinch of salt sometimes goes a long way.
Something to, once again, keep an eye on.
I wouldn't lose sleep over it.
I mean, that's very unlikely.
He just kind of laughs and sort of heads back towards the camp.
Before they get back, I want to catch Harry for a little bit.
Go for it.
You know, being right about the tavern was a instinctual thing, I guess, but run off again, they're gonna kill you.
Probably.
If we said we were following them for this, if this turns out to be a combat situation and a tavern presents itself, are you going to leg it into the tavern?
No. I thought it was dumb to go around it, or try and go around it, because that forest has been fighting us the whole way. Like, if it wants us to go in the tavern, we kind of need to listen to it.
Oh, I agree. And you were right to go in the tavern. The thing we were looking for was in there, but they could have just left you. You just did. You didn't explain to them. Yes, they're stubborn. They probably wouldn't have listened initially, but
They've never listened to me, so what's the point?
well, they're going to start at some point soon. But if you go running off, they're never going to. You're right.
I don't think they listen to what anyone has to say apart from what they actually want themselves. So,
But that'll change. It has to, or we're just going to end up leaving each other behind anyway. But you can't be the one who causes that situation.
yeah, I take your point. Just, it seemed right, and I mean, she was pretty.
There's going to be this face of just sort of,
You tried, Delphin. You really tried.
And they go so deep for so long, okay? They go back shallow again.
fair point, well humaned. Just try to explain more to them. They will get it in the end. If they don't, you can at least have the satisfaction of being right when they're wrong.
Yes, I'll just...
But you got to include them because they could have been lost forever, and you could have been lost forever, and I could have been lost forever. Because you didn't have the acorn, and they were going to go the other way.
Yeah, like kind of throwing our hat in together at this point. We need to try and stick together on stuff, I guess. But I try my best to explain to them, and then they ignore me. So I'm kind of like,
well, then explain it to me, and I'll explain it to them. If that's how it's going to go.
Well, at least we're back out there now.
Yeah.
And back in a world I at least understand somewhat.
Somewhere with a solid floor. Yeah, I'm with you.
Somewhere with like times of day where it's nice and dark, and I enjoy the dark somehow.
Yeah, I never thought I'd miss day and night.
No,
And
I enjoy the
apparently I
rain. Who knew?
It's probably taken about as long for that one to start coming back.
Cool. So, you have your little conversation, Sandra and Kestrian have their little conversation, and you make best to perform your night's watches, assuming you do them. Get into comfortable positions as best you can out under the rain to get yourselves a long rest. During your long rest, you hear the noise of a loud bird, proud, crying in the sky. And you notice a raven sat on the edge of the forest. It's quite a large raven, but it's sat in the trees just watching your camp. You awake in the morning. Your long rest has happened for those that were exhausted.
Ooh.
And before you set off, we will call it there. Session done. You have traversed the Feywilds for at least 5 days. Or at least the Copper Forest. Let's see what other Feywilds are get involved in. Yeah, thank you very much, players. Thank you very much, chat, for being in there and chatting away and keeping it going. It was really cool to see. I hope you've really enjoyed it. We had combat last week, not so much this week. It was good. I hope you enjoyed some of the weird and wonderful that you met in this particular Fey Forest. I hope you stick around to see more and continue with us. I mean, this is session 9, I believe. Double figures next week, kids, so that'll be good. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. A couple of things before I go. Thank you for the players for playing. Thank you for you lot for watching. Thank you to our sponsors, Ruffworx Creative and Ashana. Remember, tomorrow we won't be streaming because of a Twitch blackout to support the many streams and mixers and all sorts of stuff that's going on with the crapness of the world, to be fair. And there's a lot of content creators and streamers that just want to make Twitch aware that we are also standing together for that sort of, against that sort of stuff. So there'll be a blackout of Twitch tomorrow. I've no doubt some may still stream, that's their choice, but we will be among a community that don't. So we will move our vampire game to next Wednesday. So if you want to see part 2 of our vampire game, story told by Jade herself and the fledglings, then tune in next Wednesday for that. We should be back on Thursday doing our Carbon 2185 Cyberpunk game and Pathfinder on Saturday, which will be session 1 of a brand new campaign, Adventures of Puskins, and on from there. Dice of the Beholder on Sunday as well, which is another DnD5e. So we're very busy and we'll try and keep you entertained as best we can on an evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please shout about us, tell everyone. The more we get, the better it is, etc, etc. We love it. We love that community building. Let's do this. I will ask, I'm just going to check one thing before we leave. If you're all willing to raid, I'm going to raid Ashana, because why not? So if you're good to stick around so we can crack off the raid, that would be amazing. So thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay sane. Say goodbye, players.
Bye,
Bye, players.